Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I am Dr. Danish and today I am going to review one of the most inspiring and widely viewed TED Talks, The Power of Vulnerability by Brené Brown. This talk was presented in 2010 and it focuses on a very important part of human life: vulnerability, connection, courage, shame, and the ability to accept ourselves as we are. TED described Brené Brown as a researcher who studies human connection, including our ability to empathize, belong, and love. I will highlight its main message, key lesson, presentation style, and its relevance to education and everyday life. The central message of this talk is simple but powerful. Vulnerability is not a weakness. Vulnerability is an important part of courage, connection, and meaningful human relationships. Many of us think being strong means hiding our weaknesses, emotions, fears, and uncertainties. But Brainy challenged this idea. She explained that when we try to completely protect ourselves from emotional pain, we also reduce our ability to experience positive emotions such as love, joy, gratitude, longing, and connection. Her research led her to an important realization: meaningful human experiences required vulnerability. In other words, if we want a genuine relationship, we have to willing to be seen as we are. So one of the strongest aspects of this TED Talk is that does not simply give us motivational advice. Rennie tells us the story of her research journey. She began by studying human connection, asking why people feel connected to others and why they feel sometimes disconnected. During her research, she discovered that shame and vulnerability were deeply connected with human relationships. She then studied people who appeared to have strong sense of love and belonging. What she discovered was fascinating. People who experience a strong sense of belonging generally believe that they were worthy of love and belonging. This idea became one of the most important lessons of the talk. We cannot build meaningful connections if we constantly believe that we are not good enough. The importance of vulnerability. Brown explained that vulnerability involves uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. For example, saying, I love you, applying for a new job, speaking in front of an audience, starting a new relationship, admitting that you made a mistake, asking someone for help. All of these situations involve uncertainty. We don't know exactly what will happen, and uncertainty can make us uncomfortable. But Brown's message is that we cannot eliminate vulnerability from life. If we try to avoid every possible risk, we also may avoid opportunities for growth. Therefore, vulnerability should not automatically be seen as negative. Instead, it can become a source of courage, authenticity, and connection. Another important part of this talk is Brown discussion on how people try to protect themselves from vulnerability. Sometimes we try to numb difficult emotions. We distract ourselves. We become overly busy. We try to control everything. We pursue perfection. We pretend that everything is fine. But there is a problem. We cannot selectively numb our emotions. We suppress painful emotions completely. We may also reduce our ability to fully experience happiness, gratitude, love, and joy. This is powerful message because it asks us to examine our behavior instead of always trying to escape uncomfortable feelings. Perhaps we should learn to understand them. In my opinion, one of the biggest strengths Brené Brown presentation is her storytelling style. She combines research with personal experiences, humor, honesty, and emotion. She does not present herself as someone who has all answers. Instead, she openly discusses her own struggle with finding of her research. This makes her presentation very authentic. Another strength is her use of humor. The subject of shame, vulnerability could easily become very serious or uncomfortable, but Brown has humor to keep audience engaged. This is excellent presentation technique. As educator, we can learn from this approach. A presentation should not only contain information, it should also contain stories, example, emotion, and human connection. Personally, I found this TED Talk meaningful because it changes the way we normally think about strength. We often teach students that they must always be confident, successful, and perfect. But student who experiences failure, confusion, fear, rejection, and self-doubt, if we create an environment where students are afraid of making mistakes, they may stop asking questions and stop experimenting. As a teacher, we should create classroom where student can say, I don't know, I made a mistake. Can you explain this again? And I need help. These are not sign of weakness. They can actually be sign of learning and courage. Relevance to teachers and education, I think this talk has particularly very strong connection with education. A good teacher is not simply someone who delivers information, A good teacher creates trust. When students trust their teacher, they are more willing to participate, ask questions, share ideas, and make mistakes. The same principle applies to teacher. Teachers do not need to pretend that they know everything. In today's world, especially with rapid development of artificial intelligence, teachers are also continuous learner. Sometimes a student may know something that teacher doesn't know. A confident teacher can say, "That's interesting question. Let's explore it together." This creates a culture of learning rather than a culture pretending to be perfect. There are several lessons I can take from this TED talk. First, accept yourself. You do not have to be perfect to deserve respect, love, or belonging. Second, don't be afraid of making mistakes. Mistakes are often part of learning and growth. Third, build authentic relationships. Relationships require honesty and trust. Fourth, don't confuse vulnerability with weakness. Being honest about uncertainty can require tremendous courage. And finally, be willing to be seen as you really are. You don't always have to be present a perfect version of yourself to the world. Overall, I would rate Brené Brown, The Power of Vulnerability as an excellent TED Talk. Its greatest strength that it's combined research, storytelling, humor, personal experience, and a powerful human message. The talk encourages us to reconsider what we meant by strength. It tells us that vulnerability is not necessarily something we should run away from. Instead, it can help us develop courage, connection, empathy, creativity, and authentic relationship. For teachers, students, leaders, professionals, and anyone interested in personal development, this talk offers valuable lesson. To conclude, the biggest lesson I have learned from Brené Brown is that we cannot experience meaningful connection without accepting some level of vulnerability. Sometimes being courageous does not mean pretending that we are strong. Sometimes courageous means we saying, "I don't know, I made a mistake, I need a help," or simply, "This is who I am." And that is my opinion is the real power of vulnerability. Thank you for watching for my TED Talk review. I hope this review inspire you to watch Brené Brown original talk and reflect on how vulnerability, courage, authenticity can improve our personal life, professional relationship, and especially our classroom. Thank you for watching. Take care and Allah Hafiz.